getting a bunch of deer stuff done. And to be honest with you, most of my food plots are already done and they're looking really, really good. I've spent the whole summer getting everything dialed in, and the food is growing, and we've had incredible rains. Clover, chicory, Hunter's Haven, corn, brassicas, turnips, radishes, ryegrass, chicory. We've got it all growing, and it's all looking really, really good. So most of my food plot chores are all done. I've only got about, I'd say a small percentage of them left to do. So I got a couple hours of freedom. I'm like, what am I gonna do? I've got this one spot on this new food plot, and it's just like, I've been scratching my head on this thing for years. I can't really figure out how to hunt it. I've sort of built this plot, and it's a big square, and I built it right in the middle of a big bedding area, and unfortunately there's not a lot of tree options in and around this this food plot. And I don't really like hunting on a ground blind because the grade is really weird. The grade kind of all comes down from the one available spot to hunt. So basically, if the deer do get out in the field in front of you, what they're doing is they're like looking over you. You know, they're up high, and the same with the tree. If you're in the one tree that's available in the corner, they're basically, like I said, at 30 yards or 25 yards, they're eye level with you, and I absolutely hate that. It just seems like everything, you get busted, especially when you're on the edge like that, and especially when you're at low levels. So I was like, gosh, I can't figure this place out. And finally, yesterday or the other day, I was out there overseeding a few areas, and I found a tree. It's a big cottonwood. It's probably 40 or 50 yards off the plot, but it's in the right spot, and it allows me to kind of back off the food plot but still see the food plot. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make this little spot that much better today. I'm gonna bring in a machine, and I'm gonna hog out a pond. But yeah, I'm excited about this. I think this is gonna be amazing. I think this is gonna take a good spot and make it that much better, and I'm really excited about it because it's exactly what it needs, and it's gonna work. And the other thing too is this is a pond I'm building that I'm gonna collect basically all the rainwater. So everything that runs off this field and runs down this road, I'm gonna collect it. This is not a piece of property that I can go out there and fill it. There's just no way I can do it. It's too far back in the woods. I don't even have running water on the property, and I would have to be filling large tanks and trucking them way back there. So it's not even worth it. This is just a bonus. It's gonna collect hopefully every rain, and the water could stick around in this thing for, a week, 2 weeks, maybe only a few days, I don't know, but it might just be enough to get these deer checking. The one thing I learned with the water hole last year when Jack shot his buck was I had that water hole rocking and rolling all year, and those deer, whether or not there was water in it or not, they kept coming over and checking it. So, it's a good little extra bonus feature for a decent spot, and it just might be enough to get them over. And the other thing too is with me backing off a lot of these food plots this year with my tree stand setups, what I'm trying to do, what I'm always thinking, I'm most likely going to see that deer during the rut. I'm a rut hunter. I build all these things and I create all these things, but I'm a rut hunter, I hunt all year obviously, but I'm always thinking toward the rut. So by backing off these plots but being able to see them, not being super intrusive on the edge, if I do see a buck cruising across it or walking the perimeter, I'm going to be able to call it over. It'll probably be that time of the year when I can grunt, when I can rattle, when I can snort wheeze, whatever, I'm going to get them over. The other thing too I've noticed with food plots in big bucks the last couple years, I've caught a lot of big bucks coming into the corners looking to see if there's anything there, and if there's nothing there, they just keep going. Here. First things first, Where's your food? Shoot. I'm gonna have to come back later to get you fed. Or just eat a mouse. Yeah, so I'm a landscaper by trade, and it's been a crazy season. So everything is an absolute and total disaster mess right now. But this is what we need. We're gonna take the mini, we're gonna take that tooth bar bucket, we're gonna put it on this trailer, and I'm gonna grab a tree stand. I think this is all I'm gonna need. Yeah, it is all I'm gonna need. It sounded like something that could go through a tire. Don't mind the mess. Okay. I'm gonna want a lone wolf, not the one with the straps. Not that one either. This is gross in here. Straps look good. Take this one. And I think I'll need, actually I have a couple sticks. But why don't we take we'll take 3 sticks. I think I have a few other ones in my bag, so we'll be good there. Because I am going to hang this stand and trim it out after I get everything done, hopefully. That's that. Also need pole saw. Okay, stand, sticks, pole saw, and bobcat. Now, this thing's got a little bit of an issue. Not exactly easy to start. I gotta reach my hand through there. I'm not gonna videotape this in case my hand gets All right, well, here we are. Now check this place out. See if you can envision what I'm thinking. All right, so let's start out most importantly. Oh, nice. I got a trespasser on a dirt bike. Okay, see this? Dirt bike, wasn't expecting that. Okay, anyway, back on track. Here's the situation. That big cottonwood right there is the tree. It's just the one, and the reason being is the deer love to use this hard pine line here and then a hard pine line there. It's basically just a row of pine trees that are like 4 or 5 deep, and they just run north and south, and then right through the middle of this is just a giant opening, and I've kind of got it mowed over the years, and I've just mowed it down, and it's just pretty much just brush. Okay, and what happens is these deer kind of come through here. You can see they're crossing right here. This is a nice little crossing right here. Not a lot of tracks, but there's not a lot of deer in here right now. And what they're doing is they're going to this food plot here. This is the plot that I just started this year, and I'll show you really quick what it looks like. Now, as of right now, I'm probably 50 yards from the edge of the food plot from that tree. No, 40, 50 yards. But what I've got is chicory, plantain, clover. This is kind of the low spot in here, and it's growing so-so. I gotta hit it with cleth again and try to get all the grass knocked out of it. And then the majority of the plot is this Hunter's Haven here. Now the Hunter's Haven is sorghum, buckwheat, sunflower, soybean, and then I mixed in corn with everything, and it just seems like it's gonna work out just great. And then I actually mixed like brassicas all in throughout here in some of the bare areas, but it's getting browsed pretty good right now. You can see they're kind of just hitting the tops of the corn, and then these sunflowers, unfortunately, they're eating a lot of the tops of them. But anyway, so this is about 1 acre of Hunter's Haven. Now, that was the stand that we used to sit in all the time, which was that Austrian pine. And like I was saying before, the grade is really screwed up here. Well, it's not screwed up, it just is what it is. So when I'm here, I'm like eye level. When I'm a deer sitting in this plot, I'm eye level with a guy in a tree stand that's 23 feet up in the air. The other problem was this whole area here, that other big block of pines, it's all Austrian pines, really heavy cover all the way in and around it, and the deer love to lay right down in the middle of it. What do you think they're doing? They're watching anything that comes into this field. So that was the other reason I wanted something really tall, the corn, the sunflower, the sorghum, get up high enough so when those deer are laying down they can't really see. But I have abandoned that darn tree over there because I just don't think it's going to work anymore, and you got to get too close. So like I said, back to this tree, the cottonwood. Right here we can see it's just a giant natural washout, and it's all clay on both sides, and this was an old 2-track road. And I'm thinking to myself, you know what, nice buck track, why don't we take this, clear this all down, get this all carved out, and let's make a catch basin right here. We're just going to dam it off, we're going to regrade the back side of it, we're going to take all this, scratch it all out of here, and then I've got a pond. There's clay, I'm going to pack the clay, and like I said, it's just going to be temporary. When I do get rains and I get, you know, great conditions, it's going to collect as much water as possible. We're going to dam it up here, we're going to try to plant a little bit of it, and then I've got something where the deer are closer to the stand, which is, you know, that'll make that only about a 15-yard shot if they were actually drinking in there. But I think it's going to be just perfect because, like I said, I like backing off these food plots. I'm going to try backing off these food plots a little bit this year, and I'm going to spend less time like in on them. But you can see here, I'm basically in line with the tree. I'm pretty far away from that plot. You know, that's too far of a shot for me, and I don't really care. But I can see all the way up and around it when I'm 20 feet up. And if I got a buck on the other side, or tickle those horns, get them over here. And like I said, with these water holes, I've learned that these deer love to come in and check them. Even if there's no water in them, they'll still check them. So yeah, this is looking good. So I got 5 hours today to get some stuff done before I have to go to a birthday party. And this is looking good. So I'm gonna try to, I'm not doing anything there. I'm gonna try to get the stand in. I'm gonna try to get this pond cut, and then I'm gonna try to get everything graded. All right, so it's looking really, really good. And what I forgot to mention was, you know what, my goal in here was to kind of harvest the clay. So I wanted to dig everything out, and then I'm harvesting the clay off the sides. And I can tell what's clay and what's not just based on where it's all stuck together. So like there was all these little pockets that came out. We've had a ton of water washing on there, but it's still holding strong. And sure enough, this is just like really hard packed clay. And it's looking amazing. I mean, it's looking really good. It's looking like it's gonna hold a ton of water. I could potentially have, 2 feet of water. All right, now what I'm doing is, because I have it all kind of lined out, I'm just taking the machine and I'm packing the sides with all the clay and making sure there's no like rocky areas or voids or anything where the water's gonna want to slip through. But this is like super hard packed clay. This is the good stuff right here. There's a lot of it in here. And then, like I said, I got it all packed on the sides, and I'm just gonna keep doing that. My next step is to go ahead and take that top. I'm gonna compact that down, just basically drive the machine over it and pack it down and pack it down and pack it down. And then when I'm done with that, I'm gonna take the rest of it and try to find clay all the way down that path. So if this thing fills up and backs up, it's just gonna wind up holding a little further back, and then just kind of slowly, you know, move its way down in here. So I'll probably pull some off that side, and then the goal is to kind of have a nice smooth transition through here right on that little deer trail. You know, the sun now, what's going to happen is just going to bake this clay, and it's just going to really harden up. We don't have rain coming for a couple days, which is fine, so it'll just give it a chance to harden up. But everything is compacted. It's a big enough area. You know, there is no liner, obviously, or no tub at the bottom of this, and I didn't really want that. I just really wanted something that was going to catch, you know, rainfalls throughout the season, hold obviously as long as possible, and you know, give the deer a little extra added bonus for this spot, because like I said, it is absolutely awesome. The next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get going on that tree stand there. All right, well, I am all set up, and I am sitting here going, man, this is one of the coolest things I've ever done. It's probably going to be one of my favorite stands, and it's just for so many different reasons. One, you know, you put the energy and the time and the money into putting the food plots in, you know, obviously giving back to the local whitetail herd, habitat, turkeys, all that. Oh, that's always a good feeling. And it's in the ground and it's growing, and we've had a great season for rain, and got the water hole in place, and I'm looking around just going, it is absolutely awesome. There can be a deer all over in there, and they can't see me up here. It's just I've got enough, I'm far enough away from it, and I've got enough cover, got a good backdrop. And the camo that I'm going to be wearing this year, I think I'm going to be totally invincible. I'll be like the Predator up here. But it's low impact. I'm not necessarily on the food plot or in the food plot. I'm far enough away. I'm 50 yards away from it to where I think I can slip in and out of here when deer are even present in the food plot. And I honestly think a lot of these big bucks don't necessarily even visit the food plots during daylight hours. I mean, they what I've noticed around here, and maybe it's just because there was a lot of hunting pressure on some of these spots, or because some of those stands or ground blinds were in the plot, the big bucks tend to work around the edges of them and kind of stay off, scent check them. Visually, they'll look in them to see if there's does in there. But yeah, this is great because the food plot, the water hole is set up basically on the west side of all the bedding, and then I've got to the south, I've got a lot of bedding as well. So I'm actually imagining a lot of these deer are going to come from behind me and kind of stage through this little area here that I've got mowed. And basically I'm going to mow it one more time just to kind of create a little bit more browse, because they do browse through here. Just kind of open this whole thing up. As they enter that, they obviously get into the water hole, so they can get a drink if there's water in it, which hopefully there will be, or they can just go on beyond the water hole and enter, you know, that side or that side. Just depends on what they want to feed on. There's so many different varieties of food in this plot that it's pretty much all year. I mean, starting now they're browsing it. In the fall, there's, you know, brassicas in there that they're going to want to browse on. Obviously there's corn, there's sorghum, there's grain, sunflowers, chicory, and then I've even got clover and plantain. So I mean, I've got it all in there. It's a big smorgasbord. But if you look, like, that's what we're looking at right there. It's just absolutely awesome. I can see all the way around those edges, And like I was saying earlier, that's where they bed, is over there, which now I have a big wall so I can sneak into this stand without them seeing me. And a lot of times they come out of that corner and they go around that outside edge and then they go that way, or now with the water hole, I'm hoping they come right down here. And this is about 25 yards right in here, so 25 yards into there. Like I said, beyond that, it's just a little too far for me to shoot. Most likely I won't shoot anything over there. It's too far. But then this would be my other main shot, you know, if they do come from behind me, which I'm probably will hunt this on a south wind and south or east wind. So if they come, you know, through here, obviously this is all short range, 15-20 yards. But yeah, like I said, I'm really happy the way this thing turned out. It looks awesome. One more thing done here, and it's all trimmed out. It's ready to go. So I'll put a camera up on that tree over there. We're gonna monitor the water hole, and hopefully we get some rain and it fills up. But hope this was a cool little segment. Just, you know, this took me about an hour and a half total with everything. Dig the pond, put the tree stand up. Oh, well, maybe it took a little bit longer than that. I mean, I own the machine, so I didn't have to go get it. I just took it from my shop. But you know, you can easily do this. Just rent a machine, come out here, you can cut your access trails, you can dig a hole, you can scratch the surface with the tooth bar bucket, and that'll be enough to, you know, put a food plot in. This area here is just so, there's so much clay, I don't think it's really going to work very good. But in normal situations where there's topsoil, you can just scratch it, you know, or soft dirt, and then just regrade right over it. You don't need a lot for that little seed. But one more final look. Take a look at this. Got the lone wolf. Heck yeah. Be sure to check out the next video. The next video is really cool. I've got another situation where I've planted and I've made this awesome, amazing maze of food for deer, and I've got a ton of deer in there, so that'll be coming up next.